Fastenal is a great example of a high-quality cyclical compounder. It's not a pure commodity business, but it's still tied to industrial activity, and that's why valuation swings matter. Let's start with the present. The stock is around the mid-$45s, and your chart tags it near $45.70. It's also still meaningfully below the 52-week high around $50.60, which tells you the market is not in full risk-on mode for industrials. Investors are basically saying, "We like the company, but we're not sure how strong the next leg of the industrial cycle will be." Now look at your valuation anchors. The normal value line is around 30x earnings. That's a premium multiple for an industrial distributor. The reason Fastenal has earned that historically is the business model. Sticky customer relationships, a dense branch network, growing digital and vending/onsite solutions, and a track record of disciplined execution. When the market trusts the earnings stream, it's willing to pay a quality multiple. The 15x fair value is the stress case, when investors worry that industrial demand is rolling over and EPS is about to be revised down. And this is the key point. With Fast, the multiple can compress even if the company is operating well, simply because the market is discounting a softer macro backdrop. Now let's talk about the past, because this chart shows both classic mistakes and successes. The biggest mistake investors make with Fastenal is paying a peak premium when the cycle looks perfect. In strong industrial periods, the stock can drift well above fair value, and people assume that premium is permanent. Then the cycle slows, growth decelerates, and the market mean reverts the multiple. Not necessarily because Fastenal is broken, but because expectations were too high. The biggest success historically was buying when sentiment was pessimistic, when the market priced Fast closer to fair value, and then holding through the compounding. Over time, Fastenal's model tends to keep taking share and expanding large customer relationships, so patient investors get rewarded when the market regrants the premium multiple. So what about the future? The near-term debate is whether industrial activity re-accelerates or stays sluggish. Fastenal's most recent results showed solid growth, with 2025 annual sales around $8.2 billion and net income up year over year, but management also pointed to a mixed industrial backdrop. That's why the stock often trades like a show-me story. It can execute internally, but the macro still sets the mood. My takeaway from this valuation slide is simple. At around $45 to $46, Fastenal looks priced closer to its quality normal band than deep value, meaning upside depends on either a better industrial environment or continued share gains strong enough to overcome a slow cycle. If the economy improves, the market can comfortably pay the premium again. If it doesn't, the main risk is multiple compression, even if the business fundamentals remain solid. Let's go straight into the risks for Fastenal, because the company is high quality, but it's still tied to industrial activity. The biggest risk in 2026 is simply a weaker macro cycle. If manufacturing and construction demand stay soft, Fastenal can keep executing and still see volume growth decelerate. In distribution, you don't need a recession to get pressure, just slower customer activity. Closely connected is destocking and order volatility, especially with larger accounts. When customers tighten inventories, orders don't decline smoothly, they can drop suddenly, then bounce, which makes quarterly comparisons messy. That can trigger short-term estimate cuts and multiple compression, even if the long-term relationships remain intact. Another major risk is margin compression. Fastenal's model benefits from scale and good execution, but margins can still get squeezed by a mix shift toward lower margin categories, higher freight, or a mismatch between pricing and cost inflation. If competitors get aggressive during a soft cycle, pricing discipline becomes harder, and you can end up defending volumes at the expense of margin. Competition is a real factor. Fastenal faces big, well-capitalized rivals like Grainger and MSC, plus local distributors and OEM channels. The risk is less about losing the whole business, and more about incremental share loss or higher concessions needed to keep accounts. Execution risk matters too, because a big part of Fastenal's strategy is its on-site and vending model. The upside is stickiness and efficiency, but the risk is poor utilization, slower customer adoption, or weaker returns on invested capital if deployments expand at the wrong point in the cycle. Labor is another watch item. Wage inflation and hiring constraints can pressure branch and warehouse productivity. In a high-service distribution model, service levels matter, and if staffing is tight, customer experience can slip. Fastenal's 2026 risk isn't a broken business story, it's a cycle plus margin story. softer industrial demand, inventory swings, and competitive intensity that can compress margins and pull the valuation multiple down even if the company executes well. Now let's move to the opportunity side, because Fastenal's upside is not just the economy gets better. The real upside is the company's ability to keep deepening customer relationships and turning distribution into a recurring service. In the short term, the biggest opportunity is an industrial rebound. If PMI trends improve and manufacturing activity stabilizes, Fastenal typically sees faster demand across its core categories. The important point is leverage. Even modest volume acceleration can expand profitability because distribution has fixed cost elements. So you often get EPS growth that moves faster than revenue when the cycle turns up. Second is the Onsite model. Fastenal's Onsite locations inside customer facilities are a moat builder. They make the relationship stickier, improve service levels, and allow Fastenal to capture a bigger share of the customer's total spend. The short-term opportunity is simply expanding Onsite footprint and increasing wallet share per Onsite account. Third is vending. Vending is a quiet compounding machine. Once installed, it creates automatic replenishment and reduces friction for the customer. The opportunity is both more installs and higher utilization per unit over time, which raises recurring revenue and improves retention. Another short-term lever is margin. If the company keeps pricing discipline and improves mix toward higher value categories like safety, cutting tools, and broader MRO, while procurement costs normalize, margins can expand. In distribution, small margin changes have a big impact on earnings. Operationally, there's also upside from supply chain normalization and working capital efficiency. Better product availability reduces lost sales, and improved inventory turns can lift free cash flow without needing heroic top-line growth. Long-term, the opportunity is structural. More manufacturers are outsourcing inventory management and procurement efficiency, and Fastenal is positioned as an inventory partner, not just a seller of parts. That shift expands the addressable market because it pulls spend that used to be fragmented across multiple suppliers into a more centralized, data-driven relationship. Fastenal also benefits from network effects. The larger its on-site footprint and vending network becomes, the harder it is for competitors to displace it. Add digital tools, automated replenishment, spend analytics, and procurement integration, and you create switching costs that make growth more durable through the cycle. Finally, if reshoring and U.S. industrial capex remain multi-year themes, Fastenal can ride that trend while continuing to compound free cash flow, supporting dividends and, potentially, opportunistic buybacks during weaker points in the cycle. So the upside framework is a cyclical tailwind if industrial demand improves, plus a structural tailwind from on-site, vending, and digital inventory management that makes Fastenal's growth more recurring and defensible over time. Now let's look at analyst sentiment for Fastenal, and this one is noticeably more cautious. We have 0 strong buys, only 5 buys, but 9 holds, plus 2 sells and 3 strong sells. This mix usually means analysts still respect the business quality. Fastenal is a strong operator with a sticky on-site and vending model, but they're not excited about the near-term risk-reward at the current valuation. In other words, great company, but the stock may already be pricing in a better industrial cycle than we can confidently forecast. The presence of multiple sell and strong sell ratings also suggests a more skeptical view on earnings momentum and multiple support, especially if industrial demand stays soft or if margins face pressure from mix and competition. So the takeaway is, sentiment is defensive. The street isn't calling Fastenal a broken business, it's saying the stock looks priced for perfection, and investors may need either a cheaper entry point or clearer signs of an industrial upturn before sentiment improves.